IsReal News. This is the morning briefing for Wednesday, May 27th. New details are emerging about negotiations tied to the Strait of Hormuz. An Iranian national security official says Tehran and Oman are discussing a new mechanism for managing passage through the strategic waterway, adding that conditions after the war will differ from the previous arrangement. The official also says indirect talks with the United States continue, but insists there are no negotiations over Iran's enriched uranium. An advisor to Mojtaba Khamenei says the real guarantee for any agreement with Washington is control of the Strait of Hormuz. At the same time, an Iranian parliament member says Tehran has demanded a 60-day comprehensive ceasefire that would also include Lebanon, along with the release of frozen Iranian assets and an end to the naval blockade. In Lebanon, the Israeli military again issues evacuation warnings to residents of the southern city of Nabatea. Meanwhile, a senior Revolutionary Guard official says the likelihood of renewed war with the United States is low, even as tensions remain high across the region. In Europe, fears are growing over a sharp escalation in Ukraine. Russia has warned the United States that it plans what it calls systematic strikes against military and decision-making targets in Kyiv, urging diplomats and foreign nationals to leave the city immediately. According to reports, President Vladimir Putin asked that the warning be personally relayed to President Donald Trump. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio confirms the message was delivered and says there are currently no active negotiations with Ukraine, though Washington remains open to a constructive role if conditions change. European governments are rejecting Moscow's warning. The European Union, Germany, Poland, Norway, and the Netherlands summon Russian ambassadors for talks, while EU officials say they will not leave Kyiv. Ukrainian officials accuse Russia of trying to spread fear and panic ahead of a possible broader offensive. NATO is also strengthening defenses in Latvia and Estonia, amid concerns the conflict could expand beyond Ukraine. In London, a major fire breaks out at a kosher supermarket in the heavily Jewish neighborhood of Golders Green. Fire crews remain at the scene, and there are no reports of injuries so far. The area has experienced multiple antisemitic incidents over the past year, including a stabbing attack last month targeting members of the Jewish community. In New York, a well-known food cooperative in Brooklyn votes overwhelmingly to boycott Israeli products, prompting backlash from some Israeli members. At the same time, police in Queens are investigating vandalism at an Israeli-owned kosher bagel shop as a possible hate crime. And in Texas, Democratic voters defeat an extremist congressional candidate who had made a series of anti-Semitic statements during the campaign. Party leaders from across the political spectrum condemned her rhetoric, while the winning candidate pledged to fight anti-Semitism. In health news, reports say the Trump administration plans to send Americans exposed to Ebola to Kenya for monitoring and treatment instead of returning them to the United States. The outbreak in Congo has rapidly expanded, with more than 1,000 cases and over 200 deaths reported in recent days. And in Spain, police search the headquarters of the ruling Socialist Party as pressure intensifies over separate influence peddling allegations surrounding Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez. Those are the latest headlines from IsReal News.